Okay, now we're gonna make the baked kibba. And for this recipe, you use your basic kibbania, the raw kibbi. And I always divide this in half because we're gonna pat half of it into the pan, put on hashwa, and then the other half. So you need to kind of get a proportion there. We're gonna pour about a stick of butter in the bottom of a pan. Now this pan is larger than a 13 by 9. I think there's proportions on the recipe, but you can also use a 13 by 9. We're using 3 pounds of meat here for this size, but you can do 2 pounds for a smaller size pan. So there's the butter. Okay, now we're gonna start to pat the kibba into the bottom of the pan. Again, you don't wanna use more than half of the recipe. Get a little water on your hands, this helps you work it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make little flat patties, kind of like, and you're gonna start, and you're just gonna pat it into the bottom. You're gonna continue, you wanna pat it and keep it not too thick, but yeah, probably about 1/4 of an inch at least thickness. And you're gonna continue to do this until you cover the bottom of the pan completely. Okay, so I patted in, this is the first bottom layer of the kibba. So it's all patted in. You want to make sure it's all nice and smooth. And next we're going to add the hashwa, the filling. Okay, now this is the hashwa that we made earlier. And we're just going to spread this evenly on the top of that first layer. Okay, now we're going to start with the next layer. I'm again going to put a little water on my hands, and we're going to do the very same thing. We're just going to pat out and start to place this on top. If you have kibba left over, which we may, you can make kibba balls, fry it up, do different things with any extra kibba you have. Because I think we're going to have a little left over. But then you want to try to give the seams because it's kind of. Okay, so we've patted the third layer on. This is all the kibba right on the top, nice and smooth. You want to make sure it's nice and smooth. Then we're going to cut it into equal parts before we bake it. So I've kind of measured out according to the size of your pan. You know, you want them fairly equal. And you're going to cut. Make your and if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you though. I'm just going to do a couple this way, and then you're also going to score it. Well, I really do this right quick. And then it's good to score it like triangles. Okay, so you can see that's what it looks like after you've scored it. Then we're gonna add, I've added about 1/4 cup of oil to a stick of butter here that's melted. And I'm just gonna pour this on top before we bake it. Adds a little more moisture and goodness. Crisps up the top. There you go. And voila, it's ready to bake. Okay, so this is the finished product. We baked this particular pan, we baked for about an hour at 400 degrees. Depending on your ovens and also the size of the pan and the thickness, it could take anywhere from 45 minutes to, this one was an hour. You like it browned on top, as you can see right here. So you just kind of have to judge it and watch it, but we baked this one for 1 hour. So now we're just gonna cut it. You saw where I scored it, so this is, we're gonna take the first piece out. Sometimes it's hard to get out, and just kind of look at it. And there it is. There's your kibba 2 layers, and ready to eat. Good with Lebanon on top.